All right, more about remembrance of the cousin. More about video games. I don't know. This might be the last bit about video games. Hmm. Uh, okay, so at this point, uh, I had I had already moved from Minnesota to Wisconsin, and my cousin was over, and I had already met a couple friends, so I was spending time with these friends that I was going to school with in Wisconsin, and I had borrowed a video game, Nintendo game, from one of my friends, Super Mario Brothers 3, which was a very fun game to play. And my cousin was over, and he um, he really wanted to borrow Super Mario Brothers 3 from me, but I felt like I couldn't borrow it to anybody since I was borrowing it from my friend. So I felt like I was responsible for this because it wasn't my property. So I felt like, well, I can't borrow it to anybody else because I'm borrowing it from my friend. So I felt like, what if something happened to the video game? Then I was responsible for whatever happened to it. Like if it got broken or stolen. So I was not willing to let my cousin borrow this video game. Uh, so he was angry about this. I think he might have said like I mentioned previously about my cousin saying if I didn't agree to something, like I didn't agree to spend the night at his house because I felt it was scary, and he said that if I didn't, it would break his heart. I think he might have said this again, which I felt like it was just I didn't go along with it because I didn't know if he was being genuine. I thought he was just being manipulative. So I think he might have said it again. The uh, break my heart thing. Uh, if I didn't borrow the video game to him, maybe. Unless it was just that one time that he said that previously at his house. But I wasn't gonna budge on this because I didn't want to get in trouble with my friend for borrowing. Like the other thing would be like, what if my friend wanted the game back? What if he just said, "Okay, you've borrowed the video game for long enough. I'd like my Super Mario Brothers 3 back." And then what if I said, "Well, I can't give it back to you yet because I borrowed it to my cousin." What if that happened? So my cousin, when he saw that I wasn't going to borrow this video game to him, he went to my mother and said, "Why won't he borrow this game to me?" And my mother said, "Oh yeah, it's." She was trying to convince me. She said, "Yeah, don't worry. Your friend won't care if you borrow this to your cousin." And I said, "No, I'm not going to do it." So that upset my cousin about that, not borrowing the video game to him, because he really wanted to borrow it. He really liked this video game, and he wanted to borrow it. It was a very fun game to play. So I feel a little bad about that. Not I feel like it was the right decision to make at the time since it wasn't my game, but like I feel bad retrospectively um that it upset my cousin. And then I'm thinking it probably would have been fine, especially retrospectively, like since he's died and just thinking what could I have done differently? Like it would have been it would have been nice to have let him borrow that game. But I didn't want to take the chance since it wasn't my game. Um, I guess I could have at that point I could have called my friend and asked if it was okay, but I didn't even do that. But then later, when I told my friend about it and saying how my mother said that my friend wouldn't care, I told my friend about it and he said he would have cared. He said he said he was glad that I didn't do that. Like I'm sure I think I can relate to that because like if I borrowed something of mine to someone and then that person borrowed it to someone else, I think I would have been bothered by that. I guess in the end it's fine if nothing was damaged or lost, but what if it was? Then you'd get angry at the person who borrowed something that you borrowed to them. If you get angry at that person for taking the chance of borrowing it to someone else. But then um, later, I think my friend had gotten, or not my friend, later my cousin had gotten uh, Super Mario Brothers 3 anyway, because I remember playing it at his house. So I guess maybe he got it as a gift. It's just, I feel mean. I feel like I was being mean about it. So I feel a little bad about not letting him borrow the game. I remember, I think like the only holiday memory I have of my cousin is Halloween. And I think I only remember Halloween once with my cousin, going trick or treating, uh, getting all the candy from the strangers in town. I just remember, I just remember at one point we were just going from house to house in the dark for candy, trick or treating, and I just remember at one point my cousin said, oh, we're in the bad part of town." So I was a little concerned about that, like, oh, because at that point I think I had moved to Wisconsin, so I wasn't aware of any bad part of town in my hometown or my original hometown in Minnesota. So I was a little scared about being in the bad part of town at night in Minnesota, but nothing bad happened in the bad part of town. It was okay. I don't know why he said that we were in the bad part of town. Maybe just to scare me. Maybe he knew someone that was not a nice person in the area. That's why it was the bad part of town. So, my cousin, um, he had this garage. There was a garage in the back of of his house, and I remember. I guess it was when I was I have this memory. I think it happened in this garage, but I must have been really young, so it must have been like um, shortly after he moved to this house, because this was that last house that he lived in. 'Cause I remember falling on cement. I guess I tripped and I fell and I like skinned my knees. Apparently, I was wearing shorts. I guess. I guess I could have been wearing jeans and the jeans tore or the pants tore. It would have had to been a thin fabric. I'm imagining I had sore knees after that, but like I looked down after falling on my knees and I had blood on my knees. I'm pretty sure it was in this garage, but I must have been really young when I did it. I think I like had a little bit of a scar on my knees, but I tried looking for the scar recently, but all I see is hair on my legs. I remember me and my cousin we were in his garage in the back of his house. We were climbing up, I guess in like rafters, which is kind of fun. Just climbing around up in the by the roof of the or not the roof, the ceiling of this garage. Pretty lucky we didn't fall down. Uh, hmm. Okay, so there's this little negative memory I have of my cousin, which also involves this garage. Uh, so this happened a little later. Um, so my cousin did this, which so this is not a very happy memory. I don't know why he did this. So there was an object, a dark object, down by the ground outside of his garage, and I might have said, "What's that?" And then he said, "It's a dead bat." And I'm not sure if he was joking when he said it's a dead bat. It might have been, I don't know, like what else would have looked like a dead bat, but like a dark object. I didn't like look at it closely, but I think it probably was a dead bat. I don't know why there was a dead bat there. But so he picked it up and he said it was a dead bat, and then he threw it at my head, and it either like almost hit me in the head or it like grazed my head, so lightly touched my head, but it was very close to like hitting me straight on this dead bat. So that freaked me out, and I was pretty angry after that because I'm thinking, why are you throwing a dead bat at me, my face, my head? So he thought that was funny. I don't know if he was doing that, if I had said or done anything that, like, was he getting back at me for something? Was he retaliating? Like, why would he throw a dead bat at me if he knew I would want a dead bat thrown at me? Maybe he didn't think, it's possible he didn't think it would bother me as much as it did, but it bothered me very much. Uh, so he thought it was funny, but I definitely did not. I was bothered by it. I don't know why he did it. This is one of these moments where like If he was still alive, we could have looked back on this moment, and I could have said, "Hey, remember that time when you threw a dead bat at me?" And he could have said like, "Yeah," and maybe he could have like said, "Oh, sorry about that," or he could have said, or he possibly said, "Yeah, that was funny." But like, there could have been this time, like when we became adults, like we could look back on this moment, and like maybe there could have been some like explanation as to why did you throw a dead bat at me? Maybe he would have said, "Oh, just lighten up." That would not have helped my mood about it.